Hello. Okay, it's been a while since I posted anything on the channel, but here's what I got going on. This wood stove behind me, that's a Vermont Castings Intrepid II, model 1308, as I hold shaky cam here. And I've been scrubbing it down and chiseling it out and breaking parts left and right. It's awesome. I've seen different readouts on it as far as how much square footage it can heat. Anywhere between, what did it say, 6 and 1200, 6 and 1800. Anyway, what I was saying was, he picked this up for about $70. Goes for about 22, I think, 22 to 24, depending on what accessories you get with it. Doesn't need much work. When we got it, it had been sitting outside for a while. A couple of things were frozen up on it, a couple of dampers, some levers broken. I broke some stuff. So let me show you what's been done to it. Okay, there she is. Okay, it's got a cooktop that goes on the top there. And this is one of those catalytic burners, so the exhaust gets redirected through it and reburnt, and it's supposed to come out pretty, not clean, but better than just going through once. There's a couple of panels here that go in the back. I'm currently replacing the gaskets on some of them. This is one of them here. It's got two latches that swing down and kind of lock it in place. And you can see those mounting holes there. I went to take one off, not knowing that there was another nut behind it on the other side. Just wasn't paying attention and broke it off. I was able to get it out. I replaced with grade 5. I was looking for grade 8, but grade 5 was the best I could find in my local waste of time do-it-yourself place. They're just aggravating. Anyway, so I found a couple of those, replaced those, even though I broke one, do them both, and take care of that. I'm currently doing rope gaskets. This is the top half. That damper there that you see there redirects the hot gases down into this burn chamber there. That's like a catalytic burner. It goes into here, I believe, gets reburnt, comes out, and I believe it goes through here, goes down, comes out, and goes up these little chimney walls here and out the back. I believe that's how it works. I'm not 100% sure, so feel free to correct me. So that catalytic burner looked like it was in good shape. This refractory area had some critters living in it. Pulled out a lot of nesting material. You can see it's a good sized chunk missing there. I think it'll be okay. We're gonna find out. I mean, it's just that little corner. I don't see how it's gonna affect how this operates at all. Again, we'll find out. Extinguishers will be standing by the first time we light this thing off. But I got a gasket to put up here for the cooktop. Cooktop, somebody painted over it. I love that. Somebody spray paints over the glass, the cooktop, and everything so that it looks real pretty when they bring it to the yard sale. So I got to replace the glass. Glass was broken. No gaskets up here. They painted over that, so I got to grind that piece down, bring it back to. I don't think we'll cook on it, but it's a nice little option in case you lose power for an extended time. You can just throw a couple of logs in here, and you got yourself a nice little place to crack a couple of eggs and pieces of bacon. What else? Gaskets there. I got new gaskets for the doors, new gaskets for the glass. Basically re-gasketing almost this entire thing. I'm not going to pull this out. There's a couple of pieces here. I believe there's 3 pieces here. I'm not pulling those out. I don't feel like getting into it that much. There's no need for me to go in there. A couple of hinge pins were broken. We got new hinge pins. I only had to drill out one, but that went pretty easy. So I got new hinge pins to put in there. And it looks pretty good. Considering I was just wire brushing it. Got a lot of the rust off. I have some other pictures which I'll show, but it's kind of some bad lighting here, but this is looking pretty good. This is what the whole thing looked like. Let me zoom in here. You can't really. But it was all rusty like that, the whole thing. And just by some scrubbing, that's what I got on. Give me a second. Turn that down. All right, so it's the Intrepid II, and kind of do a little quick walk around. This flue collar, I guess you can point up or down, or I should say up or to the rear. As you can see, ours is set up to go to the rear here. Pretty basic on this side, not a whole heck of a lot going on. Here's my doors. This is my cooktop. Like I said, that's going to be ground down. Gasket goes in the surface there up top. Here's a couple of glasses, a couple of broken pieces of glass. I got new rope for, sorry if that was loud. I got new rope for the glass, new rope for the doors, new glass. I think I said that already. I got a new handle to go here. But I love that. Let's paint over the glass. No one will ever know. I was surprised that those hinge pins actually came out. I thought I was in for a treat there. The real treat is going to be trying to get these up. These screws here and here that hold the glass in. That's going to be a blast. That'll be a blast. And I'm trying to do all this inside my freshly painted, newly built house. I wanted to do it before all the painting was complete in case any overspray went anywhere. It's too heavy to be bringing it out of the house. It's a good, I don't know, it's got to be over a couple 100 pounds. Anyways, all right, what's going on back here? Back here, we have I believe a damper control. It's kind of like a thermostat because this is kind of spring operated piece here. It mounts in here, and you have your, your higher temperature, lower temperature, and I believe the higher temperature pulls up. I think it pulls up on this. I'm not 100% sure. It pulls up on this. This is one of the air dampers. It's kind of an automatic setting based on how much heat this piece is getting. Through here runs this handle. This is inside here, and that controls that huge damper right there that redirects the burning gases into the catalytic burner inside. You can see a little bit of that going on there. That's the top part of the refractory area. So most of this stuff was in pretty good shape. There's the back side here through the flue, and hey, let's paint over this. Probably very useful information, but I was able to see that the model number and stuff like that. The rest of it I can get offline. But so it sat outside for years, and we're gonna put it to use. We can replace rope gasket. We can replace nuts and bolts, things like that. So that's what we're gonna do. Oh, it's got an ash tray, and we picked up a new andiron for it. There's the one that it came with. We have a new one. Ash pan. Now this is the part that the logs actually sit on. Andirons plug in here and there. So pretty cool little stove. We're not looking to heat the entire house with it. We live in South Carolina now. It's gotten pretty chilly down here. It's gotten into the 20s. And the AC units in the house, they're heat pumps, so they'll work, I think, efficiently to about 40 degrees, and then after that they kind of lose effectiveness. So on the rare cold day, we got this. These come in real handy. We're currently staying in an apartment on the property that has one that's oversized, not this model, but a Sierra model. It's a side load, and it roasts us out. And it stinks because in order to get it to burn at the right temperature so that you don't have creosote buildup, you got to get that thing screaming, and it's in an apartment that just doesn't have the square footage that it needs. So a lot of the times we have to open up the windows, and it's just pointless sometimes. Anyway, so we figure with this being somewhat near our square footage size, we can, actually it's from what I've seen, it's a little bit under the square footage size that our house is. And that's fine by me, because that means that I can get this thing rocking in its temperatures that it needs to be in order to function properly and not make creosote, and then I can make use of the catalytic burner and stuff inside it. So looking forward to that. We'll give that a shot. The hearth, which is not quite built yet, is it kind of makes this thing look miniature. I was like, man, that thing is way too big for that small fire wood burning stove. But you know, it gives you a nice area to maybe put a couple of boots if you come in and it's cold and muddy or whatever. Put a couple of boots up there, warm some things up, stack some wood next to it. So it gives you enough room to move around. So when you really look at it, it's not that oversized. It gives nice clearance. There'll be a nice, what do you call it, mantle above that. The TV will be above that. So we should be good. Okay, that's about it. We'll see how it goes. So far, so good. Things are going well. Okay, I won't lie. Everything's going back together pretty well. The stove's doing well. I got all the basic components of the stove back together. And I'm currently working on... I got a lot of dust in my throat. I'm currently working on the griddle top to the stove. And it's been coated in paint and probably rust, and then more paint and rust. And I used a little bit of a brake cleaner to remove some of the paint. It's actually been doing pretty well. So I've used the paint cleaner to clean off that back panel that was painted over, the back panel that had all the information and the clearance chart for the combustibles and things like that. I was able to save that and clean it off. It looks pretty darn good. But I've been using this paint cleaner, or not paint cleaner, part stripper. I've been using this. But I've been using this parts cleaner, brake cleaner. There we go. I've been using the brake cleaner. As you can tell, it's getting to my brain. The windows are open, but the damage is already done. To remove some of the paint off of the cooktop of the stove. And I'm currently sanding now into the metal, and it is no joke. Well, part of it is I'm using 150 grit sandpaper, and then, you know, I didn't think it was going to be that tough to remove it. I figured I'd be able to strip the paint right off of it and get to it, but it looks kind of rough, to say the least. So let me turn this thing down again. Looks kind of rough, to say the least. Let me flip the camera around and you can take a look. Okay, let me get this out of the way here. Here we go. So that's what it's looking like. So I have to sand down. Through that. And, you know, basically it's supposed to look like a polished piece of steel, and it will. And then we'll have to season it a bunch, no problem. But I thought the 150 grit would be, you know, rough enough to get through that, and then I was going to kind of polish it down from there. I got 220, I think, behind me. 220 behind me. And I've polished metal before with 600 grit, and I don't think I'll have to get to that, but I definitely want all these grooves out of it if we're ever going to put food on that, which I doubt we will, but you never know. I want it to be food grade quality. I want that thing to be clean. So we're getting there, but just wanted to let you know that it's, it's not all fun and games. So let me show you the back real quick here. There we go. Okay, so yeah, I was able to salvage a good portion of that. I mean, there's kind of corrosion in what I'm guessing is that stainless steel. There is some corrosion in it. I forget what they call that, but the paint is off of it, and I didn't want to spray too much of that brake cleaner on it in fear that it might take off the actual writing. So I was able to wipe it off enough to get it to where you could read it. Even though you can probably find it online, why not? And then it's got a serial number on it too, so that might help me one day if I need to get parts. But everything's coming together real nice. It's coming together. I got all my my nuts and bolts are in there. Looking good. My rope gasket is done on the damper here. Where are we? The damper. That opens and closes. And then there was a big gasket around that. And then gasket on 3 sides of this. Sorry, I know I can't really. There's 3, like in a U-shaped gasket. And then there was a couple more pieces here and there. What size gasket did I use? 3/8. Stand by. Let's find it. No, 1/4 inch. There we go. That's where I got it from. Focus. 1/4 inch. And then for the damper, anything that was going to be open and closed a ton. Come on. This is, what was this? 5/16? Yes. Okay. 5/16. They call it armored rope because it has a metal, almost like a screen, like a if you had a metal window screen, and that's wrapped around the rope. I'm guessing because it's not just 2 parts that are going together and staying together. This part is going to take extreme heat and be open and closed a lot. So they wanted this, what they call armored. And again, that was from the same company. That was 5/16. I'll never be able to focus on it. Look at me. Focus. Focus. Not gonna happen. Anyways. Okay then. And then the rest of the gaskets, the U-shaped gasket and a couple other pieces, that was 1/4 inch. That was graphite lubricated fiberglass rope gasket. So before I go banging hinge pins in it, I will give this thing a coat of paint. Once I'm sure that I've wiped off all the grease or what do they call it? Like the penetrating oil that I sprayed all over it to get parts moving again. I'm gonna make sure all that's wiped down and gone before I put a coat of paint on this. And I got a lot of work to do on that griddle, so that's gonna occupy some time. So I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do. Am I gonna sand this all, not sand it down, but am I gonna rough all this up and wipe it all down and paint it? And then while I'm waiting for that to dry in between coats, I'll go beat the snot out of the griddle top. Probably that. I'll try to use my time wisely here. But we're getting there. You know, basically other than the griddle, I still got to do the doors. I got to do the doors down here. Sorry, the sun's coming in. I still got to do the doors and the glass. A little bit elbow grease, and this thing will be ready to go. Little hard work never hurt anybody, I guess. Okay. Okie dokie. Here's a little update on the griddle top. The griddle top. Can't really tell. It's getting pretty polished. I was doing it by hand, taking a lot of time. So I decided to, well, I remembered that I had a palm sander. So I went and grabbed it and some sandpaper. The only issue is, I think the roughest grit I have is 220, no, 150. And that knocks it down pretty good. But I need something else. I need a higher grit. But anyways, I worked it from 150, 220, and I'm now on 320. And you can see it's starting to polish up. What I have to get rid of, what I have to get rid of are these little grooves. So I just need to go a little bit deeper. And then there's, you know, it's a little bit pitted. A little bit of corrosion here, so and there's a huge pit right there, but I'm not worried about that. But I would like to get rid of all that. And it's not it's not deep, so I'm almost there, but that thing's got a nice shine coming through on it. So I'm pretty happy with that. It's just time consuming. It's a disaster in here. Anyways, so gasket ropes are on in place. Yes, I still have to do the doors. But those two trays, let's do that now. Let's get the tools out of here. Okay. So I'm pretty sure this guy goes in first. Oh, that's a little heavier. Pretty sure that's the way it goes. Yeah, I got debris down there or something. And then the andiron goes in there. The other one is in that box. And then you have your tray that you won't be able to get out unless I put something here. I mean, with the capacity like that, that's probably, I don't know, a week's worth if I were to burn all day long. I'm guessing. I really hope those doors go easy. These gaskets. I'm worried about these. I don't want these to break in the door. If they break in the door, I'm dead meat. And this whole project will be for naught because I'm the type of idiot that will go and get a tap and die set and re-tap it and spend another 6 hours tapping out stupid doors. I just throw this whole thing in my pickup truck and bring it to the scrapyard. But anyway, I'm pretty happy with that. I'm happy where it's going. It was looking pretty rough there for a while. So, hey, you know what? Let's put it on. That's going to look real nice because the whole thing is flat black, and then you have this nice polished. That's gross. I wish I had a sandblaster. I'd blast all that, but I don't. Yeah, so that'll be a nice flat black, and then this will be nice and polished. And I'm going to leave that. I'm going to leave that painted, and then you get your handle. You pop this open. Now I would have expected. I would have put money on it that if there was a fire going in there, and you open that up, it's all coming out. But from all the videos I've seen, when you open that up, if you open it up slowly, all the heat and smoke is going, following right out the flue. I just assumed it would have taken the path of least resistance and came straight up. But anyway, so with the front doors closed, they suggest top loading because you can stack all your wood up right up to the top and close her on down. So that'll look pretty cool. Okay, so I went to Home Depot and picked up some sandpaper of different sorts. I figured the 60 ought to knock down this texture issue I got going on here pretty quickly. And then the 150 was what I was using yesterday, and it wasn't quite cutting it, but I figured the 60 ought to be able to penetrate that groove that's on the cook plate there. 150 ought to bring it a little bit to a shine. I mean, if that's 150 now and it's got, you know, a reflection to it, then we're pretty close. And then I got some 320 here, sorry. I got, the 60, 150, the 320, and some 400 grit. You know, the military used to use 600 grit to polish metal or bring corroded metal to almost a mirror shine. So I'm hoping this might work. But so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna slap some of this in the palm sander and get back to work. See how it goes. Okay, this just in. This is a gigantic pain in the ass. I've gone through 3 rectangular sheets of not 150 grit, but 60 grit. And I will tell you, it's a slow going process. Here's my 60 grit. I'm not a liar. Where does it say it? Right there. Boom. Anyway. Slow going. Taking a long time. But we're making progress. It's somewhat worth it. If I didn't have the time, I'd be like, okay, yeah, I'm good, I'm done. It's just gonna get dusty or whatever, I don't know. But it's getting there. It does have some pitting in it that I'm not worrying about. I mean, I'd have to mill that down pretty far to get to that. I don't know why people just don't take care of stuff. But it's pretty close. I got most of the grooves out. I mean, it almost looks like it had like a wood grain to it. I don't know if it came like that. I'll have to do some research and take a look at other cooktops, but I don't remember seeing that at all in any of the videos. But let's see. Yeah. You can see it there. It's almost gone. Different angles. There you go. You can kind of see it. We're getting there. Man, I'll tell you. But I think it's going to look great. I had it on the stove, I think in one of the last updates there, and I think it's going to look fantastic. So it'll be worth it, I guess. Just enough for people to go, oh look, hey, it's a wood-burning stove, and then walk right past it. But I'll enjoy it. Knowing what it looked like prior to it, it'll be worth it. Anyways, back to it. Winning. Look at this thing. Pretty darn close to where I would want it. I wouldn't mind getting it down to 600 grit. Currently it's at 400. But somebody decided to take the eternal rest. Look at you, you loser. It seized up. It had enough. Said no more. Shot out puffs of black smoke or dust or whatever it was, and then squealed, and before I could shut it off, it was done. Took a while. I had it all polished up, and then I accidentally gouged it by accident with that ridiculous palm sander, and I had to do some touch up on it from basically all the way down from 160, from 60, 150, 220, and then 320 and 400 grit to get the gouge out of it. And man, that took some time. But it's as smooth as a baby's rear end. It's real pretty. It's got a nice shine to it. But I got rid of all of that wood grain, whatever that was. I don't know what that was, but that's gone. So I'm just left with the minor pitting of somebody leaving it outside. Again, you can see some of the just the scratch marks. It's like I said, it's 400 grit. I'd like to get it down to 6, but it's going to sit on top of a wood burning stove. You know, how much better is it going to get? So I'm okay with this. This is fine to me. I like it compared to what it looked like, covered in multiple layers of paint. Anyway, that's that. I don't even know how long I've been working on this thing. Let's see. No, I don't know. I can't see any clock around me, and my phone is in my hand, so that's that. I have 2 doors over here that have penetrating oil soaking through some of the screws. I'm really afraid to take the screws out to get to the glass, which I have to, but I'm just really hesitant because I can just picture the screw heads coming right off, and at that point it's a done deal. And after all this time that I sank into this and into that, I don't want that to fail. So, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, okay. Gotta go. Bye-bye. All right. Well, I just got the 4 screws out of this. I thought I broke. One. That's not right lighting. When it came out, because it's so short, I thought for sure I broke it off, and I was like, oh, maybe there's some hope. I see some threads there. Took out the next one, found the next one equally as short, because this was the first one that came out. So when the other ones came out short, I was startled. Anyways, got this, looks like a heat shield of some sort off. And then there was a screw here, there, and there. And that exposes all of the door gasket. I said all of the door gasket. And then this window glass gasket comes out. And I will wire brush all of that, get all that half-baked cement out of there, make room for the new gasket and cement, clean it up as best as possible, and get it back on the stove. But wait, I'm wondering, I should do that. Just dawned on me, I should paint these doors prior to me putting the glass in, so that we don't have the same issue of painted over glass. So I will do that. I'll clean them all up, wire brush them, and then hit them with a quick coat of high temp black paint, stove paint, and then do the gaskets and cement. But here is the, bring it over here to the light. Right next to my friend. Doesn't say much. Please, do not disturb my friend. He is dead tired. Anyway, another rope gasket. Door gasket. And then that screw takes the heat shield off. There's another screw here underneath it. And then this guy and that guy. Get to the glass. So that's what I'm going to do. That's the next step. But on to the next part. Look at the carnage. Look at this place. And that's after I picked up from all my sanding and stuff like that. That's the it's what I used to put the doors down. And I just painted the doors, and I had to put the glass and rope in, so that's what I laid the doors down on. Cut my rope, cement, and rubber gloves, and just a mess. I'm sitting here listening to the blues, time's ticking by, and it's wonderful. Not too bad. There you have it. I'll come back later when I fix the hinge and show you that. Bye. Alrighty. So I had to rebuild this hinge right there, and it should look like that. I had to rebuild it because I broke it open. I had a tube of quick steel, and anybody who's been in a pinch and needed to fix something kind of like this, you might recognize it. It might have been called JB Weld or something like that, but it comes in a 2-part putty. If you can see, there's like a light gray and then there's a black core. And I had a tube of this sitting in my toolbox forever. So I ripped off a few chunks, started mixing it together, and then it started to get hot. It said it was supposed to get hot. When you mix it, you tear off a hunk, and you gotta really knead it, and you know, like you're making a meatball, but you gotta really mash this stuff together. And it says in the instructions that it will get hot to the touch. So it started heating up, And I said, okay, let me start pressing it into shape here. Now they say you can sand it and paint it and all that good stuff and drill it. So I'm gonna give this till tomorrow morning. I'm sure it'll be good in about 10 minutes, but I'm gonna give it till tomorrow morning. I'll re-drill the hole. I already, got the drill for it all set up. But I'm gonna re-drill the hole and pray for the best. Because I've come too far to have that be the death of this project. That's it for now until I drill that out, maybe sand it down a little bit. I am not going crazy. I'll tell you what, I might even sand it down. If I can get a drill through there and a hinge to go through it, I'm done. I'm not messing with that thing. I really don't want to screw around. And I've only got a little bit of this unused putty left, and I'm afraid to even touch it too much, but it's good and soft. It's hard like my head. Okie dokie. Okay, I'll be honest with you. I was impatient, and it failed. It was hard. Let's see if I still have it. There we go. So this was it. It held its shape. But when I went to drill the hole through it for the hinge pin, the whole cap came off the corner of the hinge. So now that one looks pretty grotesque. But what I did was I drilled, and this was a battle I had in my head here, was if I drill a couple of holes, not all the way through, but just like indents. And this time I scuffed it up a little bit, the one below, with the wire brush, and I just kind of went from there. I sanded it down to bare metal, cleaned it all up real good, and then I drilled a couple little holes. And I was battling with, is that going to make the hinge weaker, or is it going to help to have something like this so that when I make the next, and I'm glad I had a little bit left. But when I was smashing the putty into the hinge that's broken down below, it gave the putty a place to kind of grip into. So not only was the metal now, scuffed and bare, but it gave the place for the putty to kind of lock into. So that was my thought there. So I drilled just 2, and they only went down like, I don't know, it had to be like just a 1/16 of an inch or anything. I mean, it was just barely into it, just enough to make a little divot. So we have this monstrosity. So I got the whole thing wrapped in it, and it's pushed into the 2 extra holes that I made, or craters. And then what I did was I took one of the old hinge pins and put it into place, and then formed this around it. And as I was forming this around it, I was kind of moving the hinge pin a little bit so that the quick steel wasn't bonding to the hinge pin, and I slowly backed the hinge pin out, and it left a hole through it. When this is done, I'm waiting till tomorrow. I'm not touching it. I'll kind of sand it down a little bit, get some of the glob off of it, and hopefully set that door right into it. And that's about as much time as I really want to spend on this. I was hoping to be done with this and picking up all my tools by now. That's what we're gonna do now. It's a gorgeous day outside, and I've been stuck in this house working on this for the past 3 days. So getting tired of that. I did put on this new gasket rope. So that's that, all gasketed. Everything is good to go. Every gasket's been replaced. And now I just gotta wait for the other door. All right, this is my finished product. I'm pretty happy with it. That hinge came out okay. I gotta finish tapping it in, but I'll paint over this and it'll look just fine. Doesn't quite match the rest, but it's pretty darn close. Show you both at the same time. But it's holding just fine. It's rock solid. So this is it. Nice shiny cooktop. All new gaskets. All new glass. Nice polished up. I always forget which way it turns. Shiny new glass. New andiron on the left. Some new hardware inside. All new rope gaskets inside. New rope gasket here underneath. That's it. You know, I'm not overly thrilled with the way the paint came out, but like I said, I'm sure it's going to change when there's fire inside it. So I'm not going too crazy. It came out good. Nice new ball chain there, whatever you want to call that, for the, I don't know if that's, I think that's primary air. I forget what that's called. The damper for the catalytic burn redirection. She's ready to go. I can wrap this up in plastic and get ready for the next project. We got to build all this hearth and all that good stuff. So much more to do. But we're getting there. But that's it. So I appreciate you watching, and any comments, questions, whatever I can help with. Sorry, it's probably bright over there. I appreciate your time watching the video, and it was not easy. Most of the good stuff in life isn't, though, right? So it was worth it, I think. We'll find out when I go to put a fire in it, but I enjoyed it. See you later. Always when I go to talk. Anyway, the unmitigated gall. Gotta smack the lips. So,